Today is Monday, November 21st. Boy, hard to believe. Boy, this year's just totally flown by. We are close to Thanksgiving, just a few days away. I'm sure a lot of you are probably busy preparing. Maybe some of you are hosting and getting ready to have family in. And I know it's a big thing to take on. We're actually hosting this year. We've been hosting the last few years, and I just know it's a lot of work to kind of put all that together. So, um, today's topic: how to have a long-term success in the final expense business, a long-term successful career. This is probably one of my favorite topics, just, one of my favorite presentations to kind of go through and to share with you guys. I've been doing this a long time now. I'm going on almost 20 years in the business. And, I really do care about the long-term success of all of my agents. I want to see to it that people have a long-term career. I want to make sure that they enjoy what they're doing on a daily basis, that they like to go out in the field and see people and are successful. They enjoy what they're doing. They're making good money, and they want to continue in the business. The longer you do it, the more money you're going to make. You start to build up renewals. You could even maybe start to grow your business. That's something that I did starting about maybe, 10 or 12 years ago. I started to recruit and train and develop agents. So we're going to talk a little bit about that today as well. We're going to go through, just kind of some things that I feel can help an agent to be successful long-term. And we're going to also talk a little bit about just a plan to have a good year next year. What's it going to take to earn six figures? If you're already earning six figures, what's it going to take to earn a little bit more than that? And so much of this is just numbers and breaking it down. And we could really set up a time, each one of you, if you'd like, and we could sit down and we could discuss a plan, figure out exactly where you want to go next year, how much money you want to earn. And I would be able to kind of put a plan together to kind of show you what it's going to take. So, but we'll go through that at the end, like I said, for general purposes, for everybody. What's it going to take to make six figures next year? What's it going to take to maybe do a little bit more than that, and then maybe close to even double that sort of income or even more. So, and again, my name's Adam. I'm sure most of you know me. I've been in the business, like I said, I'm going on about 20 years. I'm 40 years old. I've been in the business since I was 20. So licensed now for 20 years. And, I feel like I'm just getting started. There's a lot that's kind of taken me to where I'm at this point. I appreciate, the companies that I've worked with and, their belief in me. And, like I said, I kind of feel like I'm just kind of getting started here. So there's a lot more room for growth. And I think there's so much potential in this industry. There's big organizations putting up really, really big numbers. And I see no reason why, myself and other people can't partner up to compete with those sort of things. So I've been with Security National Life now for 7 years. Like I said, I've been with them, since I was 33 years old, been in the business at that time for about 12 years, 12 and a half years or so. And, like I said, great company. I'm real happy with the fact that they believed in me and that they were willing to let me kind of take on that role to kind of help them build and grow. And I kind of look at where the company was at when I first started compared to where we're at now. I feel like a lot more people know who we are. And, I've really tried my best throughout the years to promote the company through social media and just get the name out there a little bit. So, I feel like as a company, financially, they're doing much better now than when I started 7 years ago. And it's not just because of me, it's because of you guys. You're the ones who are out there that are writing business on a regular basis. And I know you could write that business anywhere. So, because you've chosen to at least put a portion of your business with Security National over these last 7 years, it's definitely helped me to even be a little bit more successful with the company. I mean, my main duties are to recruit, train, mentor agents. I just kind of always had that mindset of if you're good at what you do and you enjoy what you do and you feel like you can help people and put others in a better situation than they currently are in, well, then why not? Why not recruit and train and build? Not only will it help yourself financially, but you're putting others in a really good spot as well. I one guy actually this year, one of my managers, actually, he was kind of in that situation. Financially wasn't doing great. I was looking to build down in Florida. And I reached out to him, and we went out, we worked some leads. He kind of saw the value in what we do, and I was able to help him just become much more successful in a much better situation financially. And I love that. That's, to me, I get more satisfaction out of that than anything that I'm going to do myself when it comes to personally producing. I love seeing other people get out there and succeed and do well, and I feel real good knowing that I was able to help them. And I still produce. I don't think I'm ever going to completely get out of the field. I love going out in the field and seeing people and helping people and making sure that people are put in a good situation and that things are done the right way. We'll talk a little bit about that today too. I hate to say it, but there's a lot of people out there that just maybe are in this for themselves. They're not looking out for their clients, and maybe they're even in policies that should never even have been written due to certain health issues, things like that. They're not benefiting their clients. They're just benefiting their own, their own pocketbook. But, like I said, we'll talk a lot about that as well today. And again, I'm very happy with the success that I've had here over the last 7 years. I've actually, our region has been number one 4 out of the last 5 years. So again, thank you, everybody. Really appreciate all of you. And that would not be possible if it was not for those of you that are out there writing business. I'm here to help. I'm here to recruit and train. But at the end of the day, like I said, you're the ones that are out there. And I feel like insurance companies, they really need to understand that the agents are the backbone of the company. Without the agents, where would the company be? We've actually generated over 18 million in premium in my region since I started here. And, that may not sound like a ton when you see some of these organizations just putting up so much premium. But what makes me proud of that number is the fact that this has been with one company. We're talking about one product, one company, and to put up that amount of premium with one company, I feel pretty good. Like I said, that's just the beginning. I think, we're just getting started. We're going to be putting up a lot more premium before you know it. So for additional training, check out my website, adambersan.com/training. There's step-by-step product training, and there will be updates to the site periodically as well. There's presentation downloads and scripts on there, medication guides, rate sheets, just things that easy access, I guess, is what I would say. So when you need to find something, you're able to locate it. You don't have to look all over the place trying to find a medication guide or a rate sheet. And my YouTube channel, check it out, youtube.com/c/Adam Bersan. Yes, there is company specific material on there. There's also stuff like what we're going to be talking about today that really doesn't matter where you're writing business. It can benefit you. Like I said, we're just going to talk about the necessary steps and things that can help you be successful, and also putting together a plan to help you make more money next year. So check out the YouTube. This presentation will be on there, hopefully at some point later today. And then get on my website. I sent this out last night, and if you're on my social media, you might have seen that as well. I do these trainings. I know a lot of you are agents of mine, and I do these trainings every Monday morning from usually about 10 a.m. Central to maybe 11 o'clock, about an hour or so, sometimes a little less, sometimes a little bit more, just really depends on all we have to cover. But, I was thinking about this. I want to kind of create more of an intimate group where, I send these emails out to 1,200 people, and I know people are busy. Some people hop on, some people don't. We don't get 30, 40, 50, 100 people on every week, but I want to just kind of generate, maybe put together more of a group where we can collaborate, maybe even a little bit more and communicate with one another. I think that's where we can really help one another and help you succeed. So get on my website. I'm not going to be sending out these mass emails anymore every single week. I'm only going to be sending out my training emails to those that subscribe on my website. So get on my site, adambersan.com, plug in your name and email address on there. I'll know that that means that you are engaged and you're interested in wanting to learn more each week about, different things in the business and different things that we can do to help you succeed. So, so how to have a long-term career in the business and in the final expense business. As I mentioned, I kind of showed you a little bit about who I am and what I've done here. And I feel like I've been pretty successful in the business, and I just wanted to share a lot of that with you today. So I think, this is pretty self-explanatory. If you want to have a long-term successful career in the final expense business, that should be your main focus. I understand that there are other products out there, other markets that maybe would be good to cross-sell, also to help build up renewals. I know right now, heck, there's so many agents that are doing the AEP right now with Medicare. And I understand, I get it. The renewals on that Medicare business are really good, even the first year. So I get it. And I think that can also be a very good cross-sell where you focus on your final expense. Heck, a lot of our final expense clients, they are the perfect candidate for what do they have? That Medicare Advantage. That's the target market. We're talking about, that's like what, zero premium. People don't even have to pay to have the Medicare Advantage plan. So, but if you lead with the final expense, you can always go back at the end of the year and you're going to have a lot of people to talk to. And you're probably not even going to have to look around for leads. You can go back to all those people that you wrote all year selling your final expense to. Get rid of the ego and be willing to learn from those who are better than yourself. Even myself, I feel like I'm always learning. I'm always willing to listen to others who are out there. I know there's people out there that are better than me. And when I see that, I want to know what they're doing. And I have no problem with adapting to the way other people are doing things if I know that it can help me to be more successful. I was talking to somebody the other day, and they told me that they had a lot of really good ideas that they wanted to share with somebody. And the only way that those ideas would ever get implemented would be if there was a way they could figure out to make it as though it was that other person's idea. And to me, that's an ego issue. That's an ego issue. If you can't get rid of your ego and see that maybe there's other people that are pretty good in the business and are able to help, well, it's just not a good thing. I've had managers that come to me with just different tools that they've used in the past. I had a manager who had this survey that he liked to use, that he sold. He went in the house, he used a survey. I don't feel like I need a survey. I like to just go in and talk to the clients, but that was what he liked. And it was good for him and it helped him to be successful. So I had no problem saying, yeah, no problem. Go ahead. If you want to use that with the people that you bring on, if you can replicate yourself, that's a good thing. One of our other guys this year put together a playbook that he really liked, and it's been a very useful tool. I have no problem adapting to what other people are doing if I know it can help our whole organization get better. So, I have no problem dropping the ego if it means, in the end, everybody's going to get better and become more successful. And I think maybe more people need to be willing to do that in this industry, regardless of where you're at, position wise. So have a business plan. And I think you need to understand that final expense, it's a different market. We have to do things a little bit differently. I mean, I'm real big into just going out and door knocking leads. I like it. I like it. To me, it's just, it's maybe a little bit more of a flexible way to run my business. I can just grab some leads, put a route together, and just go out and see people. But the reason we do that, it's not just because it's maybe a more flexible way. We can just go out and work when we feel like it. People don't answer their phones. I hate to say it. I mean, it's the truth. Especially if they don't recognize a number, they're not answering, they're not picking up. And if they do answer, a lot of times they think it's a telemarketer calling. They don't want to give you the time of day. It's like they're pre-programmed to just say no. So that's why I eliminate the phone. I look at the phone as like a last ditch effort. If I just can't reach that person face to face, or if they slam the door in my face, well, then maybe a few days later, I'll get on the phone and I'll give them a call. They're probably not even going to realize that it's the same person that they talk to face to face. Another thing too, I've found with technology, it's like the more phone calls you make, these phone services, they can start to flag your number as like a spam or like telemarketer. And that's even happened to me, where if I call too many people, then when my phone number's coming across, it's showing up as spam, and then they're not answering. I mean, that's not good either. So I eliminate the phone. Like I said, it's kind of like a last ditch sort of thing. You just got to be willing to adapt. I know my dad, he was in Medicare for a long time. Growing up, he wrote a lot of Medicare supplements. His Monday was usually his office day, where he was just setting up his week, where he would be on the phone. He'd be calling his leads Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. He'd have his whole week set up, even Saturdays. And, it just seems like with final expense, that just doesn't work. You could try to set up appointments for your whole week. And if you're calling on Monday, your Tuesday appointments may be there, or at least a few of them. But as the week progresses, fewer and fewer people are going to be there off of those appointments that you set early in the week. So like I said, I like to eliminate the phone. I like to just go out there. To me, it's like putting pieces to a puzzle together. It's all trial and error. You keep trying, sooner or later, you're going to get it. And you'll be able to meet with the people and do what you can to help them. Have a marketing budget and be disciplined with it. This is the sort of business, it takes money to make money. You can't be afraid to spend money on leads. It's a lead-driven business. And yeah, maybe when you first come in, maybe you have a warm market, and that's fine. But warm markets, they cool off sooner or later. You got to strictly focus on leads, I feel, as the main source when it comes to ways of doing business. So, but again, if you don't set money aside for future lead orders, you're going to be in and out of the business pretty quickly. And I've seen it happen. I've seen people that they go out there, they write a bunch of business, they do really well, but they're just not disciplined with their money. And they're in and out of the business. And it's a shame, because they could have been really good and had a long-term career, but they just, they weren't disciplined with setting that money aside for future lead orders. I recommend to plan on living on half of what you earn. And these are things that a lot of different places, they don't like talking about, honestly. Who wants to tell their agents that you could earn 200,000, but you got to put 100,000 away for leads and taxes? Well, maybe you won't pay that much in for taxes or leads, but I feel like you're better off to have more than enough set aside than not enough. So plan to live on half. 20% I'd recommend to put away for leads. And then I'd recommend to put 30% of every deposit away for taxes. At the end of the year, like I said, maybe you're not going to owe 30% after expenses. Because remember, you can deduct that 20% that you paid for leads. I mean, that's a tax write-off. So, there are write-offs, and that's another thing I think I'm going to start doing some trainings on too. I'm going to add that to my list of topics is managing your money, setting money aside for taxes, and kind of lining up your expenses properly, so you know what you can and can't write off at the end of the year. I mean, I'm not a CPA, but I mean, I kind of have a good idea just from doing this of what is legit when it comes to write-offs and what isn't. So maybe I'll add that to my list of different topics to go over. But you got to be consistent with your ordering of leads. You got to order every week. You don't want to take weeks off. I don't care if you're going on vacation, especially right now. Unfortunately, one problem this year has been the fact that direct mail just returns are not what they used to be. But again, if you're consistently ordering, you should have enough leads to keep busy and work geographically smart. The nice thing about direct mail, most places where you can order leads, you can order those leads by zip code. And what I love about that, I mean, you could place a lead order in one zip code and have 20 leads to work, and those leads are just a few minutes apart from one another. But the next time you do a lead order, I would recommend order either that same zip code if there's others that can still be mailed to, or order like the next zip code over. And then after that, maybe the next zip code over from there, because you're not going to reach everybody your first week. And there's going to be a lot of follow-up. So the leads that you don't hit your first week, well, you're going to want to catch up with those the following week. But then you're also going to want to work your new leads. So, I mean, you don't want to work leads in one area, and then you got to go 20 miles to work your next set of leads. And maybe you'll have to if you're working rural areas, but that's the one thing that I like about being close to the city, close to Chicago. There's so many areas, even in the city and even suburbs outside of the city, where I can kind of line it up that way and just work one zip code and then the next and then the next. You keep everything closer together. Yeah, you're doing a lot of driving, but you're only a few minutes apart between stops. It's not like you're driving 20 to 30 minutes in between each lead. And you need to have some structure. Know what your day is going to look like. As I mentioned, I'm not a huge fan of setting appointments, but if you're the type of person that you can't get out of your house unless you at least have an appointment set, well, then get on the phone the night before and set up an appointment for 9 o'clock in the morning the next day. That way that you'll at least be able to get out of the house. You'll be out in the field. And once you're out there, well, now you got 20 more people to see that are all within that same area. So have some structure. Know what your day is going to look like. I would even recommend putting your route together the night before, so you're not spending an hour or two in your morning putting a route together. Have your day lined up the night before, so you can wake up, you got all your leads put together, you got everything kind of set up where you need to go, and you can just get out there and hit it. I think using a presentation is also important. It's just, to me, it's just more fluent, and it shows that you know what you're doing. The better you get at it, the better you sound, and it's just, to me, it's just good to have that structure. And I think if you want to get to the point where you want to build and grow and kind of replicate yourself, you want to have something that you can teach others that has helped you be successful, because that's how your people are going to be successful. I think replication is probably the most important part of that. I mean, you want to get to the point, honestly, the ultimate goal, if you really want to put together a good organization, is to become a manager of managers. You want to teach people the right way, so then they can get to the point where they're teaching people the same way that you taught them. And I mean, that's when you really start to take off and grow. So, it's good to have a presentation that people can learn and is trainable to. Know your products, know your underwriting, know how to calculate premiums. These are things that if you're stumbling around in a house trying to figure these things out, it really doesn't make you look very good. So you need to know the underwriting. You shouldn't have to, when you're in a home, you shouldn't have to call the company and ask them about certain health issues. You should know the underwriting. Most underwriting is pretty self-explanatory too. You can go through the application, you go through the health questions. And I mean, there's usually what, section 1, 2, and 3. If everything is in section, if anything is in section 1 is answered yes, well, then it's a decline. You know, if anything in section 2 is answered yes, it's going to go another way. If anything in the 3rd section is answered yes, well, then you know it's going to go more than likely modified. Just things like that. You need to know your products. You need to know your underwriting. You need to know how to calculate premiums. So again, these are things that you just need to practice and prepare and be ready to do once you're out there seeing people, just to make it, like I said, to make it smooth and fluent, where it's just kind of part of your presentation. Your clients are going to have much more confidence doing business with you when it looks like you know what you're doing and you're not just shuffling around trying to figure things out right then and there. Get used to getting rejected. You know, you're going to get rejected more than you're going to get accepted. I talked about that a few weeks ago. I was watching this video on TikTok. This young baseball player had a chance to meet Derek Jeter, and he asked Derek Jeter for some advice. And that's what Derek Jeter told him: get used to getting rejected, because you're going to get rejected more than you're going to get accepted, or you're going to fail. You're going to fail more than you're going to succeed. But in baseball, heck, you fail, you fail 75% of the time, you're still batting 250. So, you know, that's just kind of how it is. I mean, in sales, you're going to fail 75% of the time. If you're working 20 leads, you're going to make 4 or 5 sales, and you're going to fail on the rest of them. That's just how it is. But those sales that we make are going to make up for those that reject us. And you got to be able to brush it off. People reject you. They don't want to meet with you. They don't want to see you. They slam the door in your face. You just got to move on. And you got to kind of have that attitude. You got to have that mindset that you're just there to help people. And if they don't want your help, well, then that's their problem. And move on. Go help. Go talk to people that want your help. Don't let one person that slams the door in your face ruin your day, because the next person could welcome you with open arms. You sit down and you might not just help them, but you might end up helping their whole family. And ask questions. Listening sells. That's a big part of my presentation. If you were on a few weeks ago, my last training, we kind of went through my presentation, and I talk a lot about that. I don't build a whole lot of rapport when I walk into the home. I don't like to sound like the last 10 people that walked into the house. And the last 10 people that walked into the house, most of them all sounded pretty much the same, talking about the pictures on the wall. Oh, are those your grandkids? Wow. I mean, it's just, to me, they hear the same song and dance over and over. Make yourself out to be a little bit different than that. Ask questions, get them involved, remind them why this is so important. They know why they sent that card in. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about, why'd you send this card in? Had you experienced any funerals lately? Put them back in that mindset of reminding them why this is so important. More than likely, they probably lost a loved one at some point where it affected them financially. And we want to make sure that when that time comes, that their family is going to be taken care of. And I'm sure that more than likely, that's why they sent the card in. So ask questions, get the client involved. And again, you're going to be closing from the time you walk in to the time you leave when you get them involved. And it's more of that heartfelt conversation. You're not just talking about pictures on the wall. Focus on the need and focus on affordability. Those are the two most important things. I want to make sure they have enough coverage where if they died tomorrow, their funeral is going to be paid. But I also want to make sure that it's affordable, because if they can only pay that premium the first month and then they never make another payment, well, that's not doing anybody any good. So even if I can't write enough business on them that's enough to pay for their funeral, well, I would rather at least they have something. And as long as it's affordable and I know that they can pay it every single month. And I'll even tell them, your family will appreciate that you at least had something. You can always increase it as time goes on. But I want to make sure that they can pay this every month and not just the first month. And I think your clients will appreciate you too, looking out for them, making sure that you're putting them into a plan that they can afford every single month. I've seen a lot of agents where they're overselling, and they're selling premiums that are just completely unaffordable to people that are on an income where they're living on Social Security. They don't have a whole lot coming in every month. I mean, I don't want to take all their money. I just want to make sure that they have enough coverage to cover what needs to be covered. And we can always add more later if we have to. But when you let's say your client tells you they want 20,000 and it's just not affordable, talk them down. Talk them into a plan that you know that they're going to be able to afford every month. And your client will appreciate you for doing that. Like I said, they're usually used to the other scenario where the agent is trying to oversell, putting them in a policy where after that agent leaves, they're second guessing themselves. And they're just like, man, why did I do that? I know I can't afford this every month. So start with less, and you can always add more later. So, and I recommend go back once a year. Go back once a year, do a policy review, and increase their coverage. At that time, more than likely, they're probably going to be able to afford more, and you can get referrals from them at that point. Don't sell based on how much commission you want to make. I mean, I don't even feel like I should even have to bring that up, but it's the truth. And it's sad to say, I mean, I've seen agents when I've been out in the field training where it's like they're sitting there calculating their commissions. Don't look out for what you're getting, really, is what I should have here. It's not just about the commission you're making. Don't look out for yourself ahead of your client. Put your clients first. And I think that's probably one of the next bullet points on here, one of the next tips. But if you do what's best for your clients, you'll get paid over and over again, and they'll appreciate you, and they're going to want to do business with you. If you're sitting there, and to me, I think it's a mindset thing. And I think that the client even can feel that. They can feel if you're there for yourself or if you're there for them. And when they know that you're there to help them, they're going to want to do business with you. So yeah, here it is. Always do what is in the best interest of the client. And, that also means don't clean sheet an application. I mean, that is one of my biggest pet peeves when I'm out in the field and someone tells me that they already have coverage and they might not want to talk to me. And I tell them, well, you know what? Part of my job, I do free policy reviews. I think you're better safe than sorry. I think we need to at least sit down. I'd be happy to go through what you have. And I'll tell them I'm an honest person. If what you have is good, well, then great, I'll move on. But if it's something that maybe raises a red flag, I mean, you're better safe than sorry. So, and so many times it's like, I go through their health with them. They tell me about certain health issues that they have. And then I look at the application that the other agent, where they wrote a policy on this person, and every single question's answered no, when I know that there's some things that should have been answered yes. So then I have to explain to them the whole 2-year contestable sort of thing, where that policy is null and void if they were to pass away within the first 2 years, because it should have never even have been written. And the agent's not doing anything to help themselves either, because if that client dies in the first 2 years, they're going to get a full charge back. That policy would just be rescinded. And I mean, that's no fun at all. I've seen policies that are 22 months old that get rescinded. That's a lot of money for an agent to have to be paying back. So just always do what's right. Look out for your clients first, and explain things properly. Even if it is a modified benefit, let them know that, heck, no one else is going to take them anyways. At least you can put them into a plan where maybe they're not fully covered the first couple of years, but that time goes pretty quickly anyways. And before you know it, they'll be fully covered. And assume the sale. Someone once told me to always ask for the sale. And to me, I feel like if you do your job right, I mean, you're selling from the time you get there to the time you leave, and you're closing from the time you get there to the time you leave. I don't feel like you should have to ask for the sale. I don't ask for the sale. I assume the sale. I go through the presentation. You probably remember last week or a couple weeks ago. And yeah, I'll put together a few different ideas for them. But then from there, I'm going to let them decide kind of what they can afford. I'm never going to ask them, is that what you want to do? No, I'm going to assume that's what they want to do. And I assume that that's why I'm there, because they want to do business. There's a reason they sent that card in. And if you ask for the sale, sometimes it could get them to come to question their decision. So you could say, so is that really what you want to do? Or is that the one that you want to do? And then they might second guess themselves. So assume the sale and always ask closing questions. I mean, one of the first things I ask, who's your beneficiary going to be? I mean, that's the person who's going to be handling this when the time comes. We're going to plug in their beneficiary. From there, we're just going to finish filling out the application and get referrals. Referrals are free leads, and so many agents, it's like, and I've done the same thing. You make a sale, you're feeling really good, and you walk out. You just were able to help that person, and you're going to get paid. You know, that is one luxury of this business. Yeah, we are going to earn a pretty good commission for helping people, but you can earn a lot more when you're asking for referrals. And those referrals are going to make up for those mean and nasty people that hung up on you or slammed the door in your face, that didn't want to do business with you. So remember, people that we are able to help, they are friends with people that are in the same situation. I mean, most people that they hang out with, again, I mean, their friends are kind of in the same situation they are. So they're going to know people that you're going to be able to help as well. But if you don't ask, you're not going to get them. That's the only cost for a referral, is that you have to ask for it. And I don't know why this is, okay, I messed up there with anyways. We're on number 14. Stop avoiding your fears. And that's, again, we got to maybe get out of our comfort zone a little bit. A lot of agents, they might not be comfortable door knocking. Well, that's the best way to do this. Maybe you need to get out of your comfort zone a little bit and try it. Other agents, I had one guy tell me once that he couldn't get out and work his leads yet because he didn't have his presentation ready. I mean, the best way to learn your presentation is to go out and do it and fail on it and get back to your car and think about what could have gone better. I mean, that's, again, so much of this business is just trial and error. And, I say that all the time. I mean, I learned so much of this business, not from other people, but from just failing and doing that, going back to the car, thinking about what I did right, thinking about what I did wrong, thinking about what I could have done different. So the next time I'm in another house, I'm going to know what to say, and I'm going to know how to overcome that objection that came up where I just wasn't sure how to handle it at the time. So, I mean, that's one thing I think you definitely need to do is self-evaluate, but don't avoid those fears. I mean, I had one guy tell me once he doesn't want to door knock leads because he wouldn't want somebody just showing up to his house. And I told him, if you don't get out there and work, you're probably going to have to take out a final expense policy. So anyways, door knocking is part of the business. You just got to get out there and do it. And like I said, same thing with a presentation. You just got to get out there and do it. Your client doesn't know your presentation. They're not going to know if you messed up or not, but the practice makes perfect. The more you're out there seeing people, the better you're going to get at it. If you don't want to waste leads when you're brand new, maybe go practice the presentation on people that you know. And the cool thing about that, you might even write some business on those people that you know, without even that intention going into it. So that could be another thing, get out there and see people that you know to practice if you have to. But like I said, get out there, do it, self-evaluate, figure out what works, figure out what doesn't. And if you fail, well, don't be afraid to blame yourself and just keep trying. Work at least 40 hours a week. this is not a 9 to 5 job. It really isn't. And if you treat it that way, you're probably not going to have a long-term career, because when we're working leads, well, you're not going to reach everybody between the hours of 9 to 5. I mean, if you cut off at 5 o'clock, you're missing out on a lot of opportunities. I mean, we're working leads where there's still people that are working, where if you go home at 5 o'clock, they're not home from work yet. If you're not working on Saturdays, you're not going to catch those people either. So you got to get as much out of your leads as possible. And so, I mean, me personally, I would rather stay out a few hours than sit in traffic, because that's what's going to happen. If I'm in Chicago working and I cut off at 5 o'clock, I mean, I'm going to be stop and go traffic for a good hour or two, and it's going to take me longer to get home. I'd rather spend those couple hours catching up with people that are working during the day that I can reach in the evening. And I mean, there've been days too where, I mean, I'm just getting shut down left and right all day, where if I went home at 5 o'clock, I would have went home and had failed that day, went home with nothing. And that's the last thing I want. And I always want to go home knowing that that even if I didn't write an application that day, that I didn't give up too soon or cut off too early. I want to make sure that I whatever was necessary to write an app that day. And whether it happens or not, I feel better going home knowing that I didn't shortcut it or go home early. And so many times you'll write an application after 5 o'clock at night, and you'll go home feeling good rather than having failed, not catching anybody during the day. Have more reasons why you should be working and less excuses why you can't be working. I mean, that's probably one of my biggest pet peeves. Just there's so many agents out there that I've dealt with throughout the years that there's just way too many excuses. And it's always something that could be prevented, but just little things, excuses for reasons why they can't be working. I mean, I've heard, well, I got to pick up my kids at school at 3 o'clock, and my wife is working, and well, find someone else to pick up your kids. Pay somebody $20 to watch your kids for an hour or two. I mean, you got to do whatever's necessary to get ahead, and you can't cut off early. You got to treat this like more than a 9 to 5 job. And if you're shortcutting it and you're not putting the time in, well, that's another reason why you're going to fail. Keep up with your business. Writing business is great, but if you don't keep up with your business, well, you're going to have to write 2 applications for each one application to get paid. And what I mean by that, if you don't keep up with your business, you're going to have to deal with chargebacks. Well, then you're going to have to write one app to pay that chargeback back, and then you're going to have to write another app to get paid again. So keep up with your business. And if you see a policy running behind, make sure to call the client, even if you got to stop by their house, and your clients will appreciate it. So many times I've seen policies lapse where the client doesn't even realize that they were behind on their payment. And you can call that person and they're like, wow, thanks so much for calling me. I need to get that reestablished. They had no idea that it even lapsed. So keep up with your business. And that's going to help you too when it comes to renewals. I mean, first year business is great, but you want to keep up with your business and build that renewal base and get to the point where maybe you don't have to work as much as you get older, because you're building up that residual income. But you're not going to build up that residual income if you don't keep up with your business. I mean, I've had agents tell me, well, as long as it makes it past 9 months, I get advanced 9 months. After that, if it falls off, it's no big deal. Well, it is a big deal, because the client took out that policy for a reason. They weren't intending on that policy lapsing at some point. They wanted that policy to serve its purpose of helping their family when that time comes. And also, you're not doing the company that you deal with any good either. What company is going to want to do business with you if your business doesn't make it past 9 months? You're not going to be around long. I mean, a company's not going to be profitable. So you want to make sure you keep up with the business, and that's going to help you not only with building up the renewals, but having good relationships with the companies that you're dealing with. And remember too, it's a marathon. It's not a sprint. And, sometimes I feel like when I go out in the field and I'm training a new agent, uh, sometimes I feel like I maybe make it look a little too easy. And I honestly can't stand when I have very, very good days out in the field with brand new agents. I mean, I've taken agents out and written 5,000-6,000 in premium in a day. And that's not every day. But I mean, once you do this a long time, yeah, you will have some days like that where you go home and like you just had just an awesome day. You wrote like 4, 5, 6 applications, maybe even more. You never know what you're going to run into. I mean, you could be talking to one person and then she tells you her sister needs coverage too. And then her sister's walking into the house and, she's got her kids that need a policy too. And I mean, just so many just different situations like that. But not every day is going to be that way. And I've taken agents out and had days like that. Then they go out in the field and fall flat on their face. And they're just like, man, he made it look way too easy. It's a marathon. It's not a sprint. Nothing's going to happen overnight. Things take time. Things take time. And I would say that if you're a brand new agent, your first 9 months are going to be the hardest because, that's where you don't really have any renewals built up yet. After the 9 months, you're starting to get paid again on business that you wrote your first 3 months. So, after those first 9 months, at least you'll start having some more money coming in. And then by your second year, you're really going to start building up those renewals. So, and that makes it a lot easier to be able to consistently order leads on a regular basis too. So, but just, you got to stick with it. Again, I'm 20 years in. If this didn't work, I would have found something else to do by now. And you can't fear failure. I mean, that's something too. I mean, we talked a little bit about the whole, presentations, not having a presentation ready or fearing door knocking. You can't fear failure. You got to bet on yourself. And you got to know that as long as you give it your all and or more than your all, give it at least 110%. And you're not going to fail. I mean, I know I've talked about this in the past, even where, I mean, I built a house about 4 or 5 years ago now. And honestly, at the time, I mean, my wife and I, we were not ready to build. We weren't ready to move yet, but we needed to. Our family was getting bigger. And it just kind of got to the point where we needed to make a move. And I mean, I signed a contract and I needed to come up with money to pay my builder by certain dates. And I didn't have the money to pay him at the time. I just went out there and did it. I went out there and I wrote business. I didn't even have the thought of failure in my mind. I knew that I was going to make it happen. And that's just kind of how you have to be. You got to know going in that you're going to be successful, and don't even think about the what ifs. The what ifs are what are really what's going to hold you back. And work ethic is key. I could teach you so much, and I've talked about that too. What's the point of even coming on these training calls if you're not going to go out there and utilize what you learned? I mean, you could sit around for a year and just watch trainings. What good is that if you're not going out and implementing things and actually doing it? I mean, I've talked about that so often. I mean, I could teach you a lot and really help you be successful. If you can't get your butt out of bed, what good is it? Don't waste your time on the trainings. You got to be willing to get out there and do it. So work ethic should probably be number one on this list. I think it's the most important part of this equation. Betting on yourself is important, but you got to get out there and work. You got to get out there and do it. You got to put the time in, and you're probably going to have to put even more time in your first few years. So, and set goals. Set goals. That's important too. I like focusing on production goals. Figure out how much money you want to earn this year, but then figure out how much premium you have to do it. And that's what I'm going to show you here in a minute. We're going to kind of break that down a little bit and kind of show you how many leads you'd have to order to write a certain amount of premium to earn the type of income that you want to make after persistency, meaning, after some business falls off the books, after your lead expense. Those are the sort of things I like to put together, and that's what I'm going to show you here in a bit. But I like to show you real numbers. I think some places out there, they maybe blow up numbers a little bit where it really looks like you can make a whole lot of money, but they forget to mention the fact that some of your business is not going to stay on the books. And they forget to mention the fact that you got to spend money on leads. So, but, let's talk about some annual goals, some monthly goals, a weekly goal. You can even break it down into a daily goal. And to me, I think that if you're focusing on annualized premium, let's just say that you want to write 3,000 in premium a week as a new agent. And to me, and this is what I've always done, I'll break that number down into a smaller number, because to me, 3,000, yeah, that sounds like a lot of premium. But really, that's only $250 of monthly premium. To me, that just sounds a lot easier than writing 3,000 in annualized premium. $250 in premium a week, that is just $150 a month app a day, Monday through Friday. To me, that's a very achievable goal. But if you're just thinking, I got to write 3,000 in premium a week, that just, to me, it just sounds maybe a little bit harder. So break it down into smaller numbers that just sound easier to achieve. And just do that little extra. We talked about referrals. If you see people outside when you're door knocking your leads, go up and talk to them. Even if it's a nice day and you got a little bit of time to spare, don't hesitate to knock on some doors around your leads. Go up and down the street for an hour or two. People, it's so funny. You think that you're just going to get rejected left and right. And if you do it right, I've had so many people in the past that are more appreciative that I took the time to stop by to let them know why I was out there and to see if I could help them. So, just do that little extra. Referrals, do some cold door knocks, even if you got to set up maybe some presentation at some senior complexes, little things like that. Those are all going to help when it comes to your income and earning additional money. So, and don't miss out on the growth potential in this business. And you can grow individually, and that's fine. To me, if you just want to focus on personal production, you're going to be able to grow by keeping up with your business and building up that renewal base. But if you want to take it a step further, well, once you're good at what you do, why not teach others, like I mentioned earlier? And, we're going to break down that too, maybe a little bit, to kind of show you the potential financially if you decide that maybe you want to build a team. And keep it simple. Don't overcomplicate things. I also would mention, don't overanalyze. I think people sometimes tend to overanalyze their business, and maybe in some businesses that's okay. To me, in this business, it's not a good thing. Like, I never sit around thinking about how much money I spent on leads. I never think about how much money I'm spending on gas, or the fact that maybe I got to buy a lunch when I'm out. Yeah, those are all expenses. They're part of doing business. If anything, I just look at that as a tax write-off. Those are expenses that I'm going to be able to write off at the end of the year, where I'm going to pay in a little bit less. So keep it simple. Don't overanalyze. And again, I think that's going to make things just a lot easier. Make your, with that too, you don't need to be writing business with 20 different companies that all do the same thing. Keep it simple and love what you do. Bottom line, you got to love what you do. If you don't love what you do, what good is it? I've never really thought of this as a job. To me, it's more of a, I guess you could call it a hobby. It's a full-time hobby, but it's just something that I love to do. I love going out and seeing people and helping people. Most importantly, though, I like to see agents succeed, and I like to work with people. And like I said earlier, to me, I don't think there's any better satisfaction than taking someone who maybe is struggling through a tough time in their life and just kind of showing them a way to become much more successful and financially stable. So so those are the part of the business that, you know, I've really grown to love. But and you know, remember too, your clients, and again, focusing on them and doing the right thing for them. Sooner or later, you're going to see what happens when a client passes away, and the importance of this. And the longer you do this, you learn that by focusing on the client, I mean, you're going to learn to love what you do, because you're helping them and you're helping their families. And maybe as you grow, and you know, maybe $10,000 or $20,000 might not sound like a lot of money to you, but it is to your clients when they're living on a fixed income, and it really is going to make their family's life a heck of a lot easier when that time comes, by you stepping in and helping them. Yeah, someone just said, for goals, what will writing a $50 application translate into as a monthly goal? Well, $50 a day, Monday through Friday, that's 250. That would be 3,000 in annualized premium. So that would mean that you would write 12,000 in premium for the month. And I mean, that's really not a bad month. And Brett asked, what do you utilize a CRM, and which one would you recommend? I'm actually right now in the process of looking into different CRMs. So as soon as I did have one that I really liked for like email marketing, and they actually went out of business. So, but I will, as soon as I have one that I like, I got some pretty good ideas. I'm actually kind of considering having one built that would be really good for agents when it comes to not only your leads, but keeping up with your policy holders, and a lot of good stuff like that. So I will, like I said, as soon as I kind of have a little bit more info on that too, I'll let you know. So I just kind of wanted to break down numbers, and that's all this is. I mean, you break down numbers, it's not that difficult. And these are achievable numbers to make six figures, even if you're a brand new agent. What's it going to take to earn six figures your first year in the business? And remember, it's going to get easier as time goes, because you're going to start building up those renewals too. So, well, I recommend order 25 direct mail leads every week. And again, as I mentioned earlier, you got to be willing to bet on yourself. It's, you know, direct mail leads aren't cheap. We're talking about at $40 a lead. That's a $1,000 weekly investment. Okay. But if you're willing to bet on yourself, like I said, I've been doing this a long time. If I hadn't been willing to bet on myself, who knows what I'd be doing right now. So $1,000 a week sounds like a lot. Even if you got to put it on a credit card, do it, because believe in what you're doing. You're going to make that money back. Write a minimum of 6 applications a week at $626 of annualized premium. We're talking $52.20 average monthly premium. To me, there's no reason you shouldn't be able to write 6 applications on 25 direct mail leads. I hope that you do more than that. I mean, I think really you could probably do easy, 7 or 8 applications off of 25 direct mail leads. I'd rather show you lower numbers that should be easily achievable, but with the intention of the fact that you probably should be able to do more. So let's break that down. At $626 of annualized premium, multiply that by your 6 applications, that's $3,756 of annualized premium a week. Not too far off from what the one agent asked about, what would $50 of premium a day get me? So, well, we're talking Monday through Saturday. If you did one every single day, Monday through Saturday, well, $3,700 in premium a week. And, more than likely, you're probably going to have a day or two where you write more than one application. But at 6 apps, we're talking about $3,756 of annualized premium. You do that for 50 weeks out of the year. That's $187,800 of annualized premium. That's a pretty good year. And to me, it's easily achievable as long as you're willing to invest in yourself with that weekly investment of $1,000 a week. So 187,000, well, you got to remember too, and again, I want to show you real numbers. Not all of your business is going to stay on the books. So as long as 80% of your business stays on the books, well, we're talking about 150,000 of annualized premium, and you invested 50,000 for leads. So right there, your first year income is $100,240. Yeah, you had to go out and work. That's the hardest part of the equation. So that's it. As long as you're willing to invest in yourself, here is your plan to write $100,000 next year. To me, though, these days, $100,000 is not what it used to be. I mean, we all know with inflation, the cost of food and gas and everything else, $100,000, it's not going to get you very far. If you want to write more than 100,000, well, let's see, you wrote the 100,000, or your income was $100,240. That's what you generated off of your leads. Let's just say that you wrote 3 referrals a week at the same average premium. So when you're in that house, like I mentioned, that's the only cost for referrals, that you got to ask for it. So you ask for referrals in these homes. You wrote 6 applications off the leads. I don't feel like it should be too difficult to write 3 referrals a week. You're probably, if you're asking for referrals, you're probably going to write more than 3 a week if you're making 6 sales. But again, I'd rather show you less than more. So just 3 referrals a week. Let's just look at what this is going to do to your income. Well, that's going to add an extra $1,878 of premium a week to what you're writing. That's an extra $93,900 of annualized premium for the year. I mean, that's going to total $281,700 in premium for the year. I still want to show you real numbers though. So we're talking about at 80% persistency. Well, that's $225,360. You still spent the same amount of money on leads. So just remember that there's no, additional expense for a referral. You just had to ask. But I mean, just look at the additional income. I mean, that's huge. I mean, that's an extra $75,000 in first year income, just because you open your mouth and you ask for a few referrals on those people that you helped. Not a bad deal. So then you want to build a team. Like I said, if you want to really expand your business, and if you really love what you do, and like I said, I love putting people in situations where they can make more money and do even better. So, I mean, maybe you're to the point where you're a top producer already, and you just kind of don't know where to begin. And I can help you. I mean, I can show you what it takes when it comes to recruiting and building and all of that. But let's just say that you hire 20 people and teach them to do things just like yourself. So remember, you made $175,000 by working those 25 leads every week, getting those 3 referrals, writing business on the referrals that you wrote in addition. So you're going to train 20 people to do that. Well, 10 people fail and quit. And that's a reality. Not everybody stays. That's one thing that I've had to deal with, the fact that I can recruit my butt off. Not everybody's going to stay. So 10 people fail and quit. You get 0 premium from those people. You have 2 people that write just as much as you. Well, that would mean at 80% persistency, at the end of the year, there's an additional $450,000 of commissionable income sitting there. You got 5 people that wrote half as much as you. Well, that's another $560,000 in premium. And you have 3 people that did a quarter as much as yourself. I mean, that's $169,000 in premium. So you break that down, mean, that's a total of $1,183,140 in premium. From bringing on 20 people, half of them failing, and only 2 doing as much as you. So, I mean, like I said, it's just a matter of breaking numbers down, showing you really, you take some time away from personal production to build and grow. It's going to really help your income. And if all you're earning is a 10% override on the people that you help, I mean, that's earning you an additional $118,000 a year. That's, you know, by doing what you're doing yourself and just having somebody in the car with you that you're teaching and showing how to do this. It's not really going to affect your income when it comes to your personal production, but now you're looking at about $300,000 in income. And that's just your first year. I mean, remember, you know, these people, let's say the next year they do the same or even half of that, but you bring on another 20 people and half of the people fail. And, you know, you got another 118,000 coming in, plus maybe half of this. I mean, the numbers just continue to grow and grow and grow. But again, it's just a matter of sticking with it and kind of seeing value in that. So like I said, I just wanted to break down some numbers, kind of show you guys the possibilities of really what could be. So that's about all I got for today. We went a little bit over, but, you know, like I said, for additional training, get on my website, adambersan.com/training, youtube.com/c/Adam Bersan. And remember, get on my website, future trainings, get on there, subscribe. And then each Monday morning, we can kind of keep going, and more than happy to help you, kind of show you what's helped me to be successful throughout the years. I'll also be having on other guests that also very good top producing agents that can help you to be successful as well. So, you know, like I said, you know, appreciate all of you. Thanks for coming on. Agents are the backbone to this business, and without you all, where would we be? You know, where would we be as a company? So thanks again. Appreciate all of you. Reach out to me if you need me, and have a great week. Thank you.